This is a USB stick with Arch Linux, and this is my ThinkPad. And we will now apply this onto that. Feels like sport. Let's get into it. Hi, this is Carsten with OpenTech, and while you are here, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to hit the notification bell, since it helps. As you might know, there are only two ways of installing Arch, using the archinstall-script and the proper one. We will use the archinstall-script, and we will install Gnome, BTRFS, and Arch. We will go with the archinstall-script to install Arch, Gnome, and BTRFS. The first thing I want to do is adjust the keyboard layout, since I'm not having an English keyboard. So therefore, I need to load the proper drivers. I type load keys DE minus Latin 1, and now I have the correct keyboard layout. The next thing I want to do is to adjust the readability of the console output. Therefore, I load a better suited font by typing setFont ter minus 122b. And as you can see, readability is greatly improved. Now I need to enable networking. Since I'm running Arch Linux on a laptop, I want to configure wireless networking. I use the iwctl tool for that. So I type iwctl and hit enter. Once iwctl is loaded, first thing I want to do is check for the available wireless adapters. I therefore run device list, and I have a Wi-Fi adapter called WLAN0, and now I can type station, name of the adapter, scan to scan for networks, and once the scanning is done, I will type station device name get networks to get a list of the networks. To connect to a network, I type station device name connect network name and have to enter the network password. Be careful of what you do, you won't get any errors here. Now we can exit IWD and focus on our actual install. Before actually starting the installation, we will want to check that the network connectivity is actually there. So we type ping archlinux.org, and as you can see, I have successfully connected to my network. Now we can start the Arch install tool by entering archinstall and hitting enter. That will now take a few seconds, since archinstall checks the network connectivity, and once archinstall is loaded, we see the archinstall menu. We will go from top to bottom through it, so we won't miss any important setting. First thing you can adjust, but don't necessarily have to, is the Archinstall language. That has nothing to do with your potential system language, it's just the language of the tool. Now we have to select a mirror. We enter in there, and you typically want to select a mirror in your country or at least nearby. So I go with Germany. I then go back to the main menu. To set the keyboard layout and the installation language of your future system, you need to head into the locales section. If you are fine with US keyboard and ENUS as language, you can basically skip that. But if you are like me, you might want to do some adjustments here. So we jump in there and we hit keyboard layout, press / and then type the name of the layout we want to have and select it by hitting enter. Repeat the same for locale language, which is the installed language of your system. And if you want to have a different encoding, well, go in that submenu and change it according to your liking. Now we have to handle one of the most important aspects of an Arch Linux installation, that is the disk configuration. You can either go with your own custom layout, or you do as I do and go with a best effort layout, which is pretty reasonable. Therefore, I enter into disk configuration and select use a best effort default partition layout. I select my hard drive and now I can choose the file system I want to use. I want to go with BTRFS. I want to use the default structure of BTRFS subvolumes, and yes, I want to have BTRFS compression enabled as well. Once you have defined these settings, you are taken back to the main menu where you could now define a disk password. I don't do that, so I skip this specific menu item. The next area of concern is the bootloader. Arch supports 4 different bootloaders, but typically you choose between systemd or grub. In my case, I'm fine with systemd. Nonetheless, if you want to change the bootloader, get in there and select the bootloader of your choice. We leave swap enabled since we are fine with a swap partition as well. Now we come to some sort of cosmetics. We can define the host name of our installation. You can do that later on in a running system as well, but it's good and fine to have it done while installing the system. So I jump in there and I define the host name according to my liking. It will be ThinkPad -Arch. Defining a secure root password and setting up at least one user you work on a daily basis with is the next step. So let's jump into root password and enter the root password. And it's highly recommended to do that and repeat the password. Then again, hit enter. And if the passwords match, you are good to go. Now we want to add a user. So we go in there, hit add a user and define a username. I go with OpenTag here. I enter the password of the user, I repeat the password that I enter, and I want this user to be a super user, so I select the option for that. Once we are happy with what we did, we select confirm and exit. In this installation, we want to set up a desktop environment. So we enter the profile menu, select profile, and now we can select desktop. Now we are able to select the desktop environment of our choice. I go with Gnome. Once your profile is basically defined, you can adjust it a bit more to your liking. With a desktop environment, you can define which graphics driver should be installed. You can either go with the default selection of all open source, or you can go into the graphics driver submenu and select one of the options there. But just make sure it matches with what you have actually installed. We go with the open source drivers, so no need to change anything here. We can also select the greeter. Since I'm running Gnome, I'm fine with GDM. If I would run a different environment, I would probably want to change the greeter. If you install your system as a server system or as a minimal system, you don't need to select and define any audio server. But since we are running a desktop environment, we obviously want to hear something. So we go into the audio option, and here we can choose between Pipewire and Pulse Audio. We go with Pipewire since it is the most modern option available. Archinstall offers you 4 different kernels to be installed. Linux, which is the default one. Linux Harden, which is a hardened and more secure kernel. Linux LTS, which is a long-term supported one. And Linux Zen, which is a real-time or near real-time kernel. You can define which kernel is to be installed by adjusting the kernels option. Here you find all of the available Linux kernels listed, and you can select the kernel of your choice. We go with the default kernel here, so we don't need to change anything. Archinstall installs a basic system. So if you want to have some more packages being installed, the additional packages section is exactly what you want to enter into. So what we do here now is we define additional packages to our liking. And don't worry if you have any kind of typos here. Arch Linux will check the available of the packages and will inform you in case one of the packages would not be available. So you can adjust that. So we will go with Network Manager Applet, OpenSSH, Vim, Git, and Neofetch here. Once I entered these package names, I hit enter. Arch is now verifying the packages, and if everything went well, we will just return to the main screen of the Arch install tool. If not, it will present you with an error message. In order to have a properly working system, you obviously want to provide a network configuration. We have multiple options here. What we want to do, just to make our life easy, we just want to copy the existing network configuration over to the new system. So we jump into network configuration and we select the first entry, copy ISO network configuration to installation. This will ensure that we have a working network once we boot into the new system for the first time. The very last step we want to take before actually starting the installation is to select and define a time zone. The time zone is by default UTC, and that might be fine for you. It's not fine for me. So I go in there, hit the / and select Europe/Berlin as my time zone. That's that. We have now defined the configuration for our new Arch system. So we want to select install, have a look at what is displayed on the screen, and if we are happy with that, just hit enter to start the installation. Depending on your network speeds, your profile, the components to be installed, and the additional packages you selected, installation takes between a few minutes and probably half an hour. So grab a tea and enjoy the time. If your installation was successful, you will be asked in the end whether you want to switch into the newly created environment and adjust that according to your liking. We don't want to do that, so we select no, and then all that is left to do is to reboot the system and enjoy our new installation. Awesome, let's log in and let's see what we have installed here. So the first thing we want to do is to open the About page and see what we have here. And as you can see, it's Arch Linux on my ThinkPad X390, 16 GB of RAM, Core i5 8th generation, 256 GB of disk capacity, and it's running on Wayland. Awesome. Now let's have a look at how the system behaves when it was newly installed and started. And as you can see, the memory consumption hovers between 900-ish and 1100-ish, 1200-ish megabytes. That basically depends on what is running in the background. It's quite typical for Arch, although there are other distributions that utilize less memory when running Gnome. Nonetheless, I'm fine with that. I can happily live with that. And if you have a look at the CPU utilization, nothing out of the ordinary there. Everything is great. So the last thing we want to do is to run Neofetch. And I love what I see. It's Arch Linux. It correctly displays the resolution. The desktop environment is Gnome. And we are running on an Intel i5 8th generation. Nice. And now we can proudly say, yes, we installed Arch Linux. So what do you make out of that? How do you prefer your Arch installation? Using Archinstall or using the more traditional way? I went both routes in the past, and frankly, both have their advantages and disadvantages, but that is just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and while you are there, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to hit the notification bell, since it helps. Thanks for watching, see you next time. Ciao. Ooh, I installed Arch.